It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. You have arrived on a Monday, and y'all, it is going to be a Metal Monday, but it's going to be a different style of Metal Monday than we are accustomed to experiencing here on the Daily Doug. I'm going to be diving into some Japanese metal for the very first time on the channel, and I have no idea what I am in for. So you have arrived on a good day, y'all. So I'm going to be looking at a band called Babymetal, and the song is Gimme Chocolate. So when this first came about, I first started hearing about this band maybe a month or 6 weeks ago. And people were saying, hey, you should do Babymetal. I'm like, what is that? Is that a different genre of metal? I've heard of, of metalcore. I've heard of progressive metal. I've heard of new metal. And they're like, no, Babymetal is a band. And I'm like, where are they from? Japan. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, who's in it? They're like, it's three ladies that front this band. I'm like, well, a metal female band from Japan. Why not? Let's take a look, y'all. So we are looking at Gimme Chocolate by Babymetal today. So this group is described as a kawaii metal group, Kawaii, a kawaii metal band from Japan. They were formed in 2010. Kawaii as a genre is described as a mixture of heavy metal and J-pop, combining elements of both Eastern and Western influences that appeal to both cultures. And the lyrics in this genre also tend to be less hostile and aggressive from other heavy metal genres, instead focusing on lighter themes. And so I guess today we're talking about chocolate. And Babymetal is considered one of the pioneering bands of this genre, especially with the release of their self-titled first studio album in 2014, which is the album that Babymetal comes from. The group started off as a subgroup within the larger group Sakura Gakuin in 2010, and by 2013 they were breaking through with their own series of headlining shows, and they have been featured and been on their own ever since their debut album, which was released in February of 2014. And the song Gimme Chocolate was not originally released as a single, but they put it out as a video, and that's the one that we're going to watch. And the video has catapulted this song and the group to stardom, and the video has over 170 million views to date. So I am late to the party, friends, but it is a party that is still going on, so I don't mind being late to it. Let's take a look. Suzuka Nakamoto, otherwise known as Sue Metal, is on lead vocals. Yui Mizuno, otherwise known as Yui Metal, is on backing vocals. Moa Kikuchi, otherwise known as Moa Metal, is also on backing vocals. Miki Watanabe and Kei Kobayashi are on the lyrics, and Takeshi Ueda is the songwriter of this particular piece. It looks like they're singing in Japanese and English. So I have the lyrics here pulled up, and yeah, can I have a bit of chocolate? That's what it's talking about. So let's take a look at Babymetal for the very first time. I have no idea, friends. Megan did the read-in on this, and I am completely blind coming into it. So I'm excited to see what this is all about. Babymetal asking for chocolate. Here we go.
Chocolate.
Woo! Some synth, some metal. They're in E. That bass is in E. I have a syncopated 4. It's a Phrygian move, half step. Bum, 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 bum. That's a cool little groove. That's got to be the pop influence. switched. They were still in E for that chorus, but it switched to E major. Now it's back to kind of E Phrygian, right? Bum 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 bum. That half step E to F. Goes major. That's a cool line. A B moves up to C, moves up to a C sharp before it moves back to B. It's catchy. Not a fan of that synth though. Sounds like a video game when you put a synth in like that. Guitar solo. Dual guitars or just harmony in that line? Still an E. Rage and guitars. They're just back like the beginning, right? The bass moves on the C sharp, stays on E, moves down to C sharp, and then back. Comes like E augmented, and then moves to C sharp minor, and then back to E. Major. That's a major key. We don't hear major 1 chords very often in metal. Major key. That is interesting. I'll be damned. It really is a combination of that pop, and I'm not an authority on pop music from Asia, K-pop or J-pop, however you want to pop. I am not an authority by any stretch of the imagination on that style, but I understand it when I hear it. And it was a really interesting combination of metal sounds, traditional metal music, with that J-pop right on top of it and interlaced in with it. Really cool. They were in E the whole time, but it went back and forth between E minor with that Phrygian riff, with just the half step going up from the E. And then in the chorus, that little line, it went to E major, and we get the B natural moving up to a C natural, which makes it, I don't hear a change of chord there, but it makes it an E augmented chord as that moves up to, you could call it a B sharp if you want to say it's an augmented chord. But then when it gets to C sharp and the chord becomes C sharp, G sharp, and E, right? That becomes the C sharp minor chord, and that's where that bass moved down and then back up. And that was what I heard in the chorus sections. Really fascinating music, y'all. I found an article from NPR in 2018 talking about this band, and here's what they said. In a genre marked by over-the-top theatricality, 2014's most controversial heavy metal act by far was a K-pop tinged electro metal band fronted by 3 diminutive Japanese teenagers in frilly black dresses. Babymetal's maddeningly catchy kawaii metal crashed into the metal scene like an alien invasion, ruffling purists' feathers, even as it commanded adoration from a slew of others. Propelled by a crunchy nu metal riff, light-fingered fretboard wizardry, the trio's poppy high-pitched vocals, and effects that sounded like a spaceship powering up to blast off into a Technicolor future. I understood that sound. Their debut single, Gimme Chocolate, is a manic ride through lollipop hell. Well, there you go, NPR. Yeah, it was catchingly. They said maddeningly catchy. Kawaii Metal. I'll be darned. Well, they continue to be successful, friends. They have released albums in 2016 and 2019, and just this year, they will be releasing the other one, and that's slated to be released later this month. And this promises to be a concept album about a concept album featuring 10 new songs. And people have told me, once I announced that I was going to be looking at this particular song, they're like, well, if you're going to be getting into this, realize that this song is almost a decade old, and they have come a long way and matured since then. So if that's how catchy this was back then, I'm curious to see what they're up to these days. It's not my normal stuff to listen to, but I thought it was really interesting how they combined those themes. The one thing that I did not find in my read-in was the names of all the musicians that were backing them. I mean, all I read about were the three gals that are up front in the band. I don't know who was playing the drums and all of that stuff behind them and supporting them in concert. Maybe I'll learn that for another time. But I'm interested in this, and I think that I will come back to not only this band, but other bands in this genre that some of y'all have suggested to us. So metal music combined with J-pop from Japan. Coming to the Daily Doug. It was interesting. It really was. And it's kind of the seminal point to this channel, which was giving me time to look into these styles of music and these pieces that I have not had a chance to look at previously, and expand my understanding of the musical world around me and be able to offer you my thoughts in real time as I hear it. And this is right down the middle for the fun stuff that we come across here on the channel. 3 young Japanese ladies just kind of inventing this genre with a combination of this pop music and this really heavy metal. I mean, where else do you get E Phrygian and E major like that, right back and forth between the verses and the choruses? It's really fun. We'll get to more from Babymetal, but that is all today, y'all. They have been asking for chocolate, and actually in the lyrics, it's basically a song about how they want chocolate, but they're worried about how it will affect their weight. Teenage perspective, I guess. I don't mind having extra chocolate occasionally, especially if I have been a good Doug. So maybe I will get some chocolate later today. You never know. But Babymetal is still asking for their chocolate, and it's been a big time hit for them. I'm looking forward to hearing other stuff from this band. Thanks, y'all, for being with me today, and we will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.